Welcome, folks, to the program all about cars. My name is Ralph Medeiros. I own and operate Ralph's Auto Center with my son Andrew in the north end of New Bedford. We're just off exit 5 off of Route 140. Very easy to get to. Whether you're in the city or coming from the suburbs, coming from the Cape or the Fall River area, Providence area, where you can track us right down, very easy. It's just put on your GPS if you're not familiar with the area, and 867 Church Street is our address. And we're directly opposite of New Bedford Vocational's faculty and service entrance, and right next to Dollar General and Webb Plumbing and Heating and Regal House Furniture. So it's a busy little part of the city. The Church Street area is growing, modestly growing, but growing. And we would welcome to see you. And if you're looking for an automobile, used car, today my brother David's there. He's holding the fort. Andy has the weekend off. He's away at a wedding. And David's there. If you can come by and talk to him. He's been in the car business like me all his life. And he's been around in the car business a little bit longer than me. So, because he's my older brother. He's the oldest of the four of us. And he's there and you can talk to him about cars. And he's very knowledgeable about antique cars as well, because he has several collectibles as well, like Billy. And hangs around with Mr. Saunders there. So Steve Saunders on Cedar Street. And Steve is into rebuilding old cars and restoration of all kinds of engines and different cars, mostly a lot of 50s stuff. That's where they hail from. So give me a call here, 9960500, 9960500. We'll talk about whatever's on your mind. No matter where you're at, you can call if you're not on a cell phone, you're on a hard line and they charge you a toll fee to call. You can ring us up here pretty much anywhere on earth at 877-996-1420. And we can hold a conversation. All kinds of things happening in the car world, all around the world. It never ends. It never stops. The world's crazy, and it'll be that way. Continue on. As long as people are crazy, the world will be crazy. Today being October 24th. The month of October is nearly gone. 1 month of fall is certainly gone. And we settle into the middle of fall. And it's obviously apparent if you look at a lot of the leaves, they've changed colors, and I guess they're saluting us goodbye until next spring when it starts over again. So, God willing, we're here to see it. So today, sunrise was at 7:06 in the morning, after 7 o'clock. And sunset will be at 5:49, before 6 o'clock in the evening. We lost 8 minutes in the morning, 11 minutes in the evening. Total loss from last Saturday, 19 minutes. The tidal light is rushing south. They're, well, I guess you have to say that they're going into their May, okay, even though it's October, but it's their May as far as we're concerned, spring-wise, in the southern hemisphere. Wouldn't it be nice, huh, to have enough dough to take off and go to your winter home down in New Zealand, or Australia, or some other nice warm place right now where summer's coming in? That would be nice, wouldn't it? But anyway, the reality is we're here, and we might as well make the best of it. We've lost 4 hours and 29 minutes of daylight. It's gone south, the tide of light, and we have about just over an hour and a half left before we reach bottom. An hour and 34 minutes if my math is correct. So we got a little bit of light left. And the clocks will go back, the first weekend of November. So that's not far away at all. Okay, when you think about it, another 2 Sundays away, I guess, right? So there you have it. What's happening around you. High tide is already, let's see. No, high tide hasn't taken place. Low tide has taken place. Low tide was 11:23 this morning, so about an hour ago. So the tide is just starting to switch and come in. It'll be high at 5:59. 5:59, so that'll be, 10 minutes after sunset will be high tide. And moonrise will take place at 4:16. Everything seems to be timed there pretty much close to the high tides. 4:16 for moonrise, which you probably won't see it because of the cloud cover, and it sets tomorrow morning at 3:23. Just because you can't see it doesn't mean it doesn't affect people, because it does. All these gravitational pulls and other things in the metaphysical world we haven't figured out yet. So, but, I was talking to somebody about planes. I said, well, planes could fly back in the Roman days 2,000 years ago, and they said to me, "What are you, nuts? How could planes fly?" I said, "Well, because the laws existed for planes to fly, then they just couldn't figure it out. You know, we just discovered how to make it work with the physical laws that allow it to happen. Okay, so if they had the knowledge then, they could have, the same rules applied then as now. They just didn't figure it out. And there's plenty of things we haven't figured out yet as well in this life, in this time, and in this age, and in the future. They'll look back and say, boy, you know, you think back how much things have changed in the last 50 years with our constant evolution of products and inventions of new products. And you can see that this progress made as far as in our physical world. But, okay, what do we want to talk about? We've got a caller here. Let's see who this caller is. Very good afternoon to you, caller. You there?
Yes, Ralph. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic.
I got an easy question to ask you.
Go ahead.
My check engine light came on.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple of days it went back off. Now it came back on. Now, how much do you charge to check out that engine light?
We don't charge you to read it and tell you what's going on.
Oh,
so there'll be no charge to inform you as to what's happening. It could be something very minor, or it could be something that could be significant. But we will tell you what it is at no charge.
Oh, do I have to make an appointment for that?
No, not necessarily. You can come by, and Ulysses or myself or one of my boys will read the code, and if we have to look it up, if it's something unusual, we sometimes have to do a little bit of research. Most of the time we can tell you what it is and give you guidance. You know, some places will read your light for nothing. A lot of places charge $50, $75, depending on where you go. We don't charge to do that. And if you're like a new customer, never been to us before, we try to earn your business, obviously. And but we try to advise you properly. And if there's a way we'll find the least expensive way out to fix it for you. What year is the car?
It's a 2009 Kia.
Okay, all right. And this is the first time this has occurred to you?
Yeah.
To the car?
What do you call it? I'm just hitting around 58,000 miles, 59.
Okay, yeah. And this is the first time this happened to you?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. It's probably something minor. If it's gone out and then recycled again. But we can look at it and give you some advice. Have you recently put gasoline in the car?
Yes.
Well, it could be something as simple as a cap. We'd have to look at it and give you some advice, though.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't worry about it. We'll just check it and give you and go from there.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ralph.
Well, you're entirely welcome.
Yeah. Have a good day.
Yeah. Thank you
Bye-bye.
very much. Okay. Okay. You can ring me up here at 996-0500. If you got a car question or whatever's happening. Matt, if you got something cute, I got to blow my nose. My nose is running here. Must be the allergies in here, the dust or something. What do you got cute? Anything here? Yeah, okay. We'll be right back. And I'll be right back. I don't want to get snots on the microphone.
and let me be lonely. You won't believe me, and I love you only. I'd rather be lonely than happy with somebody else. You might find the nighttime the right time for kissing, but nighttime is my time for just reminiscing, regretting instead of forgetting with somebody else. There'll be no one unless that someone is you. I intend to be independently blue. I want your love, but I don't want to borrow, to have it today and to give back tomorrow. For my love is your love, there's no love for nobody else.
Okay, we're back. At the very beginning of the show, I played The Untouchables. For those of you who remember that TV series, I really enjoyed that. I was a young kid. It used to come on at 10 o'clock. It was kind of, in them days, considered a very violent program. But I was like, oh, somebody trying to sneak in there and play something. Okay. Yeah, there you go. Anyway, you still got that cue. The Untouchables was an episode that ran in the late 50s, early 60s with Elliot Ness, and it was Robert Stack was the actor at the time. But I played that little skit going in talking about the change of president from Hoover to Roosevelt. Hoover was a Republican, but he was a progressive Republican. He did a lot of things that priming the pump, trying to create jobs, but it was just such a deep hole that was dug with the speculation in the stock market then that it was unrecoverable. And then, of course, Roosevelt got in with a landslide after 3 years of depression, and the people were pretty stressed out about it and losing their houses and their businesses, and they threw Hoover out and brought the Democrats in with a landslide. And I played that as kind of like a cycle, if you will, because here we are now, 6 years into this administration and 6 years into our depression, and we'll probably throw the bums out too. No doubt the people there's so much anguish out there, for better or worse. It's talking back then about the Volstead Act and the gangsters at the time. Well, today's gangsters that are the real gangsters are the banksters. The gangsters, the banks. And so you have to kind of place the new characters for the cycle we're in now to deal with the realities we're in now, and that's what we're up against. So just kind of like to show that there's just a cycle, and we're back into that cycle, that we're in that 80-year cycle, if you will, if you study cycles, and kind of like the tide of light rushing out. We're in that cycle. We're going into our winter, and so goes life. So if you pay attention to these events and try to follow them, it's this global banking. They get away with, they don't go to prison. Matter of fact, I got an article we can talk about that, but I don't like to digress and get off subject too much. Right now, we've been offering some specials on service. You should talk to Ulysses. We're getting into the winter time, and if you haven't got your car in shape, now's the time to really do it before it starts to hit. And people have all kinds of problems, and then you have to wait a few days, several days, sometimes longer if you have a major problem to get your car repaired. If you're experiencing a light on or a noise, a rattle, a bump, or your brakes are terrible, your tires are really in rough shape, now's the time to really get off your duff and do something about it. And not wait to the last minute. And, be prepared. Okay? You have to be prepared for events that take place. And your car is important to you. That's your horse, the modern day horse. Get you to work, get you, go to get groceries, and it's important that you keep it up. Okay, if you maintain, people who maintain their cars on a regular basis actually spend less than those who just drive it until it breaks, and then they fix it. You got the crowd out there, which is the majority, who drive their cars until they break. Then they roll their eyes when you tell them it's going to cost you $500,000, $700,000, $800,000, $1,200 to fix your car, and they just drove the crap out of it and sucked the life out of it, and then, the horse stopped working and is now dying or dead, and now you have to put a substantial investment. Versus the crowd who maintain their car, and they have a problem, they fix it on a regular basis. Yeah, they spend money, but it's smaller batches, and they avoid the bigger expenses, because sometimes when you have a car with a problem, you continue driving it, you compound the problem. So now it costs more to fix it, okay? Kind of like the doctor telling you, hey, you know what? You got to stop smoking. You're smoking 2 packs a day. You got to back it down. You ignore them, say, hey, listen, I'm feeling great. And it's slowing you down, and then finally you have that heart attack or other problems, and then you realize that you haven't been maintaining yourself. Well, your car's no different, okay? Now, we're in the business of repairing and fixing cars. We do a lot of type of restorative maintenance, we call it, to keep people patched up, because we know these are tough times out there for a lot of folks. And, it's difficult to prosper when so many people are not. These are the realities out there. But we'll have these politicians come and give us these lines of how things are great and are improving and this and that. And I mean, they have to sell hope, I guess. But there's certainly no Roosevelt in selling that line of hope in today's reality. That's for sure. But anyway, we do offer all kinds of service maintenance to keep you patched up. We service all makes and models of cars. We even do detailing. If you, it's a nice gift for somebody, just make an arrangement with us, an appointment, and we can have your car detailed. Ronnie is our detailer, does an excellent job in detailing automobiles. People are very impressed when they get their car back and they see it all cleaned up. You'd have to call Ulysses, though, to make an appointment, depending on what you have, give you a price on it. I mean, if you come in with a big, huge, Escalade extended version, obviously going to cost you more than a Honda Accord or something, those type of deals. But we do detailing, all kinds of maintenance for all makes and models. We do everything but warranty work. And if it's something we, don't have, some procedures require specific equipment, if we don't have it, we'll tell you and we'll recommend where to take it to have it repaired reasonably. We do undercoating. Now's the time, you guys out there with trucks. If you're going to, have the intent of keeping your truck more than 3 years and it's new or fairly new, one of the smartest things you can do is undercoat it or fluid coat it with this. So we have 2 types of undercoating. We use something similar to like the military Cosmoline, and we also have the more permanent petrol-based, solvent-based undercoating, which is a little bit more expensive, but it's very tenacious. It stays there. Some guys prefer the fluid coating, others prefer the undercoating. So it's 2 different ways of looking at it. They're both very good. And if you do have a car that's a bit rusty underneath, this will slow it down considerably and give you, an extended life on your machine. Now, if your car is totally, not totally, but significantly rotted out, it's like looking for a miracle cure for cancer, and you're going to take this less, this is going to solve your problems. Well, no, it'll slow it down radically. But if the damage is done, it's done. And if you have to have some repairs made, welding done to the frame to make it safe and sound and reliable, then that has to be done before it's undercoated. So it's not a cure-all for total lack of maintenance, okay? But it will slow down the progression radically of further rusting of the undercarriage. So it's something you should see us on, and we can give you a number on that depending on the type of rig you have and what it's going to need to bring it, to undercoat it properly. Okay, we don't do a half job, you know what I mean? So we do it right, and we'll advise you accordingly, and we'll make an appointment and do that for you. So undercoating, especially on trucks or vehicles where the frame You have the traditional chassis frame and the body's mounted to it. It's critical on vehicles like that. Okay, most of those are trucks or SUVs, like Suburbans and that type of rig, or Escalades, or Expeditions, with a frame and a body mounted on it, because they basically use a truck frame on those type of rigs. Or anything with a truck, most trucks have frames on them, okay? I think one of the few unibody trucks out there, which I don't think they're building one this year, is the Honda Ridgeline. But that should be undercoated as well. And cars, too. Cars are, most of them are under unibody, but they're subframes, up front rust in the back, so you can improve that situation, especially Asian cars. They're prone to more rust, okay? I've seen it in my career. But all cars, I mean, I guess they all rust. I've seen less corrosion problems on subframes on mostly on European, like German cars. It's not as prevalent, but they all do. You get into the, it's just being near the coast here. People here in New Bedford and Fairhaven, Sconneck especially, oh my God, the rust problems out there is phenomenal. And we see a lot of people. We're always, patching it up for them. So you should look us up for undercoating on that, and we can help you out. We got several calls here. A very good afternoon to you, caller.
Hey, good afternoon.
Hey, Jay, how are you?
How you doing?
I'm doing better than I deserve.
Oh, good. Hey, I got another program for you. I like to watch these documentaries because the regular channels are full of crap.
That's true. That's true.
Secrets of the Dead.
Secrets of the Dead.
And they had the one about the Trojan horse. Very interesting.
Well, we got a modern-day Trojan horse taking place right before our eyes.
Yeah, no kidding. And it's full of assorted individuals.
Yeah, it's taking place in Europe right now.
And here.
And here. Yeah, that's true. Here. That's true. We're just a little more spread out here, but yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Anyway, by the way, I have a question for you. I need an oil change and a sticker, of all things.
Okay.
Now, do I have to make an appointment for that? Probably.
Well, the oil change, yeah, and we can take care of the sticker at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
So I'll call you guys up Monday.
Yeah. Tell
make
Ulysses,
an appointment for oil change and sticker.
You talk to Ulysses, tell him you're talking to me, and we'll get you in.
Right.
I'm trying to get Ulysses to...
I'll get down there and get it done.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm overdue on my oil change because it needs an oil change indicator light.
Yep.
It's flashing at me when I start the car.
What kind of machine?
Honda.
Okay. Yeah.
Honda Civic.
Yep.
And it has one of those stupid lights. If you go over the time period, it flashes at you for 5 or 6 seconds when you start the car. Eventually, if you don't do it, it goes on permanently.
Yeah. Well, today, they have to do that with people because they're so removed from just the basics of life sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's so busy. So many things going on in your mind that, like you got a tire pressure light on. People say, I got some light on my car with an exclamation point, and I don't know that it's in the middle of some U. Well, the U is your tire, kind of,
right.
The way they design it. And then you tell them, well, you got a tire here that's way low in pressure, or you have a sensor that's bad. And these things should be maintained because tire pressure is critical, But I don't know. I see people wailing around town driving these big rigs, and they don't really maintain them, and they drive them like they're race cars,
Oh, I see. I've heard of people driving around with airbag light on.
Oh, that's every day. You kidding me? In the city here, forget about it. In the metro area, you got people drive around. It's like Christmas every day when they start their cars. All kinds of lights on in the dashboard.
A long time ago, a friend of mine bought I won't tell you the name of the car, but it was notorious for electrical shorts.
Okay.
And he told me, I just bought a blah, blah, blah. And I said to him, ooh, bad idea.
You could say the brand.
I'd rather not because they still make cars.
Okay.
Anyway, one day he goes out to his driveway, turns the ignition key, and the dashboard lit up like a Christmas tree.
Yeah.
So he calls the dealer, and the guy says, don't turn the ignition on again. We'll be right out there. Wow, the whole electrical system was messed up. There was something wrong with it from the factory.
Well, it's getting, yeah. Well, the electronics in cars today are becoming the priority of, of all the predominant reason for all the problems for a lot of cars. I mean,
and they came out, they supposedly fixed it, and about 2 weeks later, it happened again. Well, shortly after that, you get rid of the car.
Yeah, well, it's unfortunate, huh?
Yeah.
It's unfortunate. Well,
I mean, I've never had that happen.
Yeah.
And he says to me, "Oh, you wouldn't believe it. Every light went on." Yeah, bingo.
Yeah, one of our good customers had a problem with all the lights coming on, and we had to check it out, and it turned out to be a grounding problem.
Right.
And we had
and you get these minor little problems that, when the car's finished at the factory, don't they have people who check them?
Well, yeah, but what happens when they get out in the real world, like a grounding problem, usually is a result of driving it around, the car's aging, and it just corrosion and the elements and the oxidation and,
yeah,
so
that's understandable.
Yeah, so things happen. It's kind of like us as we get older, right?
A friend of mine who used to, his stepson used to work in Detroit when they were still making cars, and his job was to put on radiator caps at the end of the assembly line. Not on cars that were complete, on cars that were complete without the radiator caps put on them. Say, what? You mean to tell me they put in a radiator and nobody put a cap on it?
Yeah, that's... Well, things have changed a lot. A lot of the manufacturers now, when they assemble a car, the dashboards come all assembled. They just put them in the car and zip them in with their electric air guns or drill guns, and
whether they fit or not, they shove them in there.
Yeah, well, they've improved things a lot. I mean, it's the globalization today, and quality is a big deal. I mean, Consumer Reports just come out and they were slamming Chrysler and Fiat. Some people can be, critical. They rated Toyota and Lexus the highest, I think, this cycle around. I can pull it up, but talking about quality. But cars, all the brands have improved radically. Now, Fiat might be having a learning curve in the United States. That I experienced that with when I first went over to AMC Renault back in the 80s. A lot of the Renaults were never adapted to the American roads. They were more for European roads, American, much higher speeds for prolonged periods of time.
Right.
Things like that. The emissions weren't quite as integrated. Our emissions were tougher than theirs. Things like that. But if they're going to make a stance in the country here, they have to just make those improvements.
That's why I own a 2004 Toyota Honda Civic.
Honda.
And I'm going to keep it until it pays me.
Well, it is paying you. It's
good.
It's doing every month. It's you don't have a huge car payment or no car payment. That's a good thing.
And you couldn't give me a new car if you paid for it.
Well, eventually they'll these newer for the 2015s up are much more sophisticated machines, require a much higher level of knowledge to work and service on them.
Yeah, and when it conks out, you're dead in the water.
Well, yeah, they are they're less forgiving. In other words, if a system goes down, the machine goes down. Some of the older cars, something happens, you can still keep driving it.
Right.
For better or for worse, but you can drive it. The newer machines, some of them they say no, get the car fixed.
And the more electronic gadgets they put on them, the worse it's going to get.
Well, you haven't seen nothing yet. Wait until Big Brother starts putting their required.
I'm waiting.
Their required software in the machine, letting them know where you go, how much you drive, so they can send you a tax bill.
And what speed you were doing, and so forth and so on.
That's right. They'll have all this information.
Hopefully my Honda and I will run out of time approximately at the same time.
Well, when I get in my 80s, I want to drive a 69 Lincoln Continental with suicide doors.
Ooh.
With a 501 or 502 cubic inch engine.
Right.
And I'll be driving along and they'll say, "Oh man, get that off the road. What you'll be adding to global warming." And I'm going to give them the
the international finger salute.
Right, I'm going to give him the instant of choice, the salute. Tell him, mind your business.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'll probably be grandfathered in, guys out there with the old V8s without all the conforming pollution devices, and they'll grudgingly grant you an exception because they figure, well, how much time has he got left?
Hey, some of those cars will still be running when the 2020 models are spunked out.
Yeah, well, they'll be running, but we might not be running.
Well, hey, that's another story.
Right. All right, I got to let you go.
Okay, have a good one.
You too. Bye-bye. Very good afternoon to you, caller.
Hey, good afternoon, Ralph.
Hey, how are you, Chuck?
I'm doing okay.
Good. Good to hear your voice.
First, I brought my Camaro into your shop this week for oil change and some odds and ends.
Thank you.
And in short, good service at a good price says it all.
Oh, good. So
Yeah.
Ulysses, I'm sure you met Ulysses.
Yeah, we got to chat for a bit.
Good. Yeah, he's a good man.
Yeah, he is.
Yep.
Are you familiar with the Wireless and Steam Museum in Rhode Island?
The Wireless and Steam Museum in I think I saw just a segment one time on RI Public TV.
Yeah.
But I don't even know where it's at. Where's that?
It's in East Greenwich.
Okay.
You want to go on the website sometime if you're curious. NEWSM.org. Try that again.
Yeah.
New England Wireless Steam. NEWSM.
NEWSM. Yeah.
.org.
.org. Okay.
Yeah. Well, it was funny. I went there last week, and they had an open house and kind of a convention. And a guy had an old steam car.
Wow. Okay.
It was impressive.
Wow. Yeah.
The guy was really up in years. And I figured he must have just driven this thing a few miles to get here. And he said, oh, no, 80 miles.
Wow.
And he said you could do about 300 miles on a full load of water.
Wow.
And those things can move.
Yeah. What did he fire it with? Did it use like diesel?
Diesel.
Okay, that's what I figured. Diesel.
Yeah.
Wow.
The beauty of the steam engines is that, and we still use steam engines. Submarines are run on steam.
Yeah.
Power plants are run on steam.
Oh yeah, some of the destroyers and battleships were running burning bunker oil, running steam turbines. Yeah.
Yeah. The beauty is it doesn't depend upon the type of fuel, just as long as you could turn water to steam.
Well, yeah. You're right. The submarines use nuclear.
Yeah.
They use reactors for the fuel to heat the water, to superheat the water, and they'll use high pressure steam and.
Yeah. Exactly.
Very sophisticated machines.
I'm always impressed by, they also have there the old Spa Gap transmitters, and they have a great display of everything from code keys to Atwater Kent radios and all that stuff.
I remember all that, yeah.
Yeah, and industrial-sized steam engines that actually still run.
Wow.
And I'm always impressed with the older guy who has real skills, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
They know from the sound of something whether it's running right.
Exactly. You're right. It's intrusive. That's right.
Yeah. And I always fear that is something that's being lost.
Oh, and unequivocally.
Yeah.
Unequivocally. Because I use those similar methods in diagnostics.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
I walked by a car the other day, and the guy said, all these lights are on, this and that. And I said, the battery's okay? Yeah, check that. I said, you got a ground problem, check it out. And they said, oh, yeah, smart, but, told me I'm a smart ass. I walked by, so they check it out. It says, well, we had a bad ground. I said, okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to brag, but...
Yeah, well, you know what you're doing.
Sometimes...
when you made your comment about the banksters...
The banksters, they're the new gangsters.
They're my favorite group to despise.
Well...
I look at myself, who invested very conservatively in CDs, which served me well. It was not, I was unaware of the stock market. I was uncomfortable in it. I didn't figure I knew what was going on. But I was comfortable with the returns I got. And you know what happened to us.
Sure, you got crucified.
Oh, I've lost a fortune.
No, wait.
Literally.
But did you lose a capital loss because of?
No, not a capital loss.
You're talking an interest income.
An interest, but as far as I'm concerned, that's lost money.
Well, yes, because they're stealing from the savers to subsidize the borrowers.
And that money was, I have a pension as a teacher coming up to me.
Fine, you put your
but
dues
this was supposed to make my life a little bit easier.
No, you are so right. Right now, well, you have a pension, so you're not on the Social Security program. The Social Security program.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Because I earn my quarters, but about half of that gets taken away.
Because you got to.
I'm not retired yet, but this is in the
But when
future.
it comes to collect, you're going to be forced to take a reduction, right?
Because you're treated as if you're double dipping, even if you earned it independently.
Yeah, they changed that in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there's been some people who have been trying to fight that, but.
Forget it. The country's broke. There's no way.
Yeah, the country's broke, exactly, so they're not going to give you the money.
But we're not going to tell you that.
Yeah.
Keep going out.
This whole thing is, like for a person like me, is that money's never going to be recovered.
Well, no, because it for the people who've played by the rules, which is primarily our generation and a little bit younger than us. I mean, the new generation coming up, the millennials, they're playing by the rules, a lot of them, trying to make it right and try to build a country.
Right.
But our conversation goes much deeper than the time allows. But it all goes back to this basic banking arrangement of having a Federal Reserve system, and it's robbed us. It's taxed us beyond belief by they want inflation to increase. You listen to the pundits on TV, the economic channels.
I listen to some of them.
Yeah, they want 2% rate of inflation. They're telling you this is the guideline. This is why we're not going to increase rates right now because we're looking for this. Once it hits this level, we'll raise it. It's all a bunch of BS.
At best.
And they've inflated everything. I mean, you probably, or people who probably bought their first house for $15,000, $25,000.
Yeah, exactly.
And the new house now, that same house on the same street, you'd have to pay $175. Or if you're talking New Bedford, unfortunately, New Bedford prices have been depressed. And that's another discussion. The depression of real estate is lots of times caused by very high taxes, high crime, and the attraction of people who are undesirable. They don't contribute to society. They're a net drag on society. But, of course, we don't want to talk about those things, so that's politically incorrect. Oh, my God. So, but we're going to deny reality, okay? And don't forget to vote for Hillary. Don't forget to vote for Bush.
Well, you know what? Do I trust Donald Trump?
Well, I don't know if he's the real deal.
No.
I keep saying that. Well,
because I don't believe he's sincere.
Well, you know what?
He's a bit of a huckster. He's a good self-promoter, and in my humble opinion, and I hope I'm wrong if he gets elected, this is his ultimate con.
Well, listen, I can understand your concerns. Okay, like I said, I'm not sure he's the real deal, but the way I look at it is this way: you have a choice. You can take this little red pill, or you can take this little blue pill.
And both of them have cyanide.
No, both pills are placebos. They don't do nothing for you.
Right.
Okay. So because the game is rigged, and until we get some serious reforms, which I don't know if we'll see in our country, we're going to lose this country. We're getting more socialized, more socialism, and we don't want to say that. That's not the word.
Part company a little bit.
Okay.
It all depends how we've done a lot of socialism for Wall Street.
Okay.
Well, but somebody asked
now
Ben
you're
Bernanke, because he had just written a book, former Fed chairman. While this was going on, why didn't you let people who were losing their homes touch their 401ks? He started hemming and hawing and say, well, it's for their retirement. So it was okay it was for Wall Street. Because if those people started pulling their money out so they could save their homes, it would have hurt Wall Street. Wow. So instead, it was okay for them to lose their homes.
Well, do you think they care?
No, of course.
Okay, what they're going to tell you
sure as hell cared. But do you think Bernanke or any of them cared about the little guy? Absolutely not.
No. This
is why, for my parents' generation, and they're long gone, they thought FDR was a hero.
Well, in many aspects, he was.
He cared at least about the little guy. He made whether he solved the Depression or not, I think the war did. But at least he cared to make their lives a little bit better.
He tried to. A case could be made that he saved capitalism. Okay, because back then there was many communists, a lot of agitators out there advocating for radical change because of the Depression. Kind of like we have now in many aspects. So a case could be made he saved capitalism, but he also saved the wealthy class, the banksters. Look what happened in 1933 when they had the bank shut down. They called it a bank holiday.
Holiday, yeah.
Right, a bank holiday.
One hell of a holiday.
And you know what they said to you and me? Let's say you had, back then gold was pretty much, they had gold coins and all that. Well, they forced you, the federal government passed a law saying that, you got to turn in your gold. You got to sell it to the government. We're going to pay you for it. At the time, gold was selling for $21 an ounce. And they took in a lot of gold, except from the smart people who figured out the game out, okay? So they paid you, okay? They paid you in dollars, okay? And you got the Federal Reserve note. And then what happened? 2 years, not even 2 years later, they reissued gold at a $35 rate. So think of this. You immediately had deflation, you had inflation on your currency. That $21 an ounce you got to buy an ounce of gold, now you would take you $35 an ounce. So you took a major hit, okay? Think of the rate of, what's that in the equation of, that's like over 50% depreciation of your currency.
Yeah.
Right? So this is when the game, so they started the game. Now we're at the end of the game. We've maxed it out now. So we're at a very precarious point in our country's future here.
Well, there's several issues. Number one is, since nobody was held accountable.
For what?
For the debacle on Wall Street and the mortgage crisis and all that, there is no incentive for them not to do it again. Or to do it even worse.
Why would we want to hold them accountable?
Well, maybe
you're held accountable.
Some of us have old-fashioned values,
right.
maybe.
No, but we're held accountable.
Of course we are.
But see, if you look at, look locally here. There's a case here, whether you agree with the man or not. He did wrong, and he got judged by his peers. John George.
Yeah.
And he was tried at the federal level, right? And guess what happened? He went to prison.
Right.
Now, the banks, now he did wrong, fine, but he's paying a pretty harsh price. But look what happened with the banks. They didn't even get a sentence close to that. Think about it. Think about it.
Remember,
but see, John George's mistake,
some of these people walked away with bonuses.
He didn't donate to the right places.
There you go.
I got to go.
Take care.
Thank you. Okay, we'll be back after the news. Stay with us. All About Cars with Ralph Medeiros. Welcome back, comrades, in FEMA Region 1 to the program All About Cars. My name is Ralph Medeiros. I own and operate Ralph's Auto Center in the north end of New Bedford, 867 Church Street. We're just off of Route 140, exit 5. Here we go. Okay, we're back. I hope that brought some memories. We had a call here. I'm going to read an article, but let's talk to this caller first. A very good afternoon to you, caller. You're on.
Good afternoon, Ralphie. This is Billy.
Well, Billy, you must have had a hormone treatment.
No. That was nice to hear that. That's back when music made sense, huh?
Yeah, well, it just brings back memories. You can have dinner, hold a conversation, or read a book and have that in the background. It doesn't disturb you.
I always I loved hanging out with, my grandfather's friends, and you learn so much from those people.
Well, that's true. It's the transfer of wisdom, if you will, from life's experiences, good and bad, from the generation before us. You're right.
You got me thinking when you talked about the Lincoln with the suicide doors.
Yes, that would be my car of choice. It's the size of a freight car.
Oh,
right?
But they were great. Now, one of my relatives had a 63, which was pretty much identical to the one that JFK was killed in.
Yeah.
A high top, though. I mean, I think it was 503 cubic inch. I don't have the internet.
I said 500. I know it's just over 500.
A little over 5, yeah.
And when you popped the hood, there was no room under the hood. It was a big-ass engine in there.
You didn't have to pop the hood on those. They ran forever.
Yeah. The hood used to open up, too, right? It opened up towards the radiator. Am I right on that? I'm trying to visualize.
I think it opened up regular, didn't it? I can't remember.
I think it opened when it... Maybe someone out there knows. I'm trying to go from memory, but when you pop the hood latch... It would release, and you lift it from where the wiper blades are, and it would go up like a Corvette.
I'm not sure on that one.
Yeah, I think so. And it had suicide doors in the rear, which was pretty cool.
Oh, they weighed about 200 pounds each.
Oh, that was a party car, though, huh? You know how many people you could put in that car? That was a hell of a party car back in the 60s.
Hey, one time my mother took off, and my grandmother wasn't all the way in.
Oh, wow. Well, at least she got swept in.
And I yelled at my mom, stop!
Oh, yeah, they'll run you down. They'll run you down. That's why they call them suicide doors.
You know that car came from your place? That came from Joe Andrews?
Oh, right next to me, yeah.
Yeah, and I won't give the name, but the initials of the lady that used to trade in every 3 years was H.
Oh, yeah.
As in horse, C as in cat.
Yeah.
She used to trade in every 3 years, and it was midnight blue.
That's when the middle class had
that thing going one night, right there in front of old Rochester.
Yeah. So
let me see how fast she'll go. Well, I think I backed out of her around 130. She scared me more than I scared her. And it had a Biff McLean sticker on the back.
Yeah, I guess that's the time, yeah.
Those were heavy vessels.
They were.
What do you figure it weighed?
That car? Probably, definitely.
4,000?
Oh, yeah, north of 4,000. Yeah,
okay.
Probably like 4,800 pounds, yeah. Probably some could top over 5, yeah.
No kidding, and she was beautiful.
Yeah, it's about 4 Hyundai Elantras.
Wow. I never, ever ran a vehicle and speeded after that thing.
Yeah.
She got going like the Queen Mary.
Well, that car on the highway today, it takes like 2 parking spaces, you know.
That would be good for demolition derbies.
Yeah, it'd be nice to drive around the roads here. Someone runs a stop sign, they T-bone you, they're going on to the next, they're going into the next world.
They're going to the emergency room.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Hey, I love that song. You got any more Glenn Miller? I'd love to hear something. There's your time's out.
All right.
53 degrees.
See you later.
Thanks, Ralph.
Yeah, bye-bye. Okay, always fun. All right. The last caller of the previous hour. Oh, by the way, this is a car program, and I do sell and service automobiles, and I definitely need your support, and I mean that sincerely. To talk to you, meet you people here, and come before the microphone does cost a few bucks, and to continue the program and to continue our operations, we need your support. And if you don't drive, or you have a new car, it's under warranty, and you go to the dealer for service because it's still covered, well, at least you can refer people to us. We deeply appreciate that, and we will certainly, you'll probably get a thanks, because overwhelming majority of people are happy to service with us and buy cars from us. We do work hard to earn your goodwill and your support. You vote with your dollars, and we pay attention to that. And God knows there's a lot of places where you shouldn't vote with your dollars, whether you're buying a car or a TV or what have you, any service out there, whether it be a service from a service company, a plumber, electrician or a lawyer, or services from a car dealer, whether you're buying a product for them or having your car serviced. You have to pick your companies you do business with today, like you would pick for an election. Okay, if you pay attention to it. Most people don't, though, unfortunately, and they learn the hard way, be it the election or buying services. But sincerely, we do appreciate the business we've gotten from customers in this community. That's allowed us to keep going. I mean, that's how it works, and we need your support to continue going. And we try to earn your goodwill by doing what we say we're going to do, to fix the car at a reasonable cost, or sell you a good car at a reasonable cost. And we service our cars out thoroughly before you get them. We put the money in it before we take your money. A lot of places just, make the car look good, take your money, and they don't really put much into the cars. They put as little as they have to get you a sticker and then hasta la vista, baby. But we truly go for the long haul and earn your goodwill, and especially your referrals. So if you're happy, you talk well, and you would send us customers. Are we perfect? No. We make mistakes. We do our best to correct them. If the car lets you down, we won't. We'll fix the car under the warranty and the terms. We'll back you up. And we have a track record that goes back decades. When my father started the company back in 1959. But so look us up. We're on Allen Street. Yeah, that's a Freudian slip. We started on Allen Street in 1959. Actually, as Ralph's Auto Sales. My dad did have a business in the 40s at Texaco Station Town Line, where Gasper's Linguiça was behind him, which is now a Cumberland Farms. And Marshall's Pub is gone as well. It's all part of that complex now at the corner of Dartmouth and Rockdale Avenue. But he started there the business in the late 40s after the war with Town Line as a gas station, servicing cars, and I guess selling a few cars. I wasn't around then, by the way. He was married, but I wasn't here yet. My brother David was, though. I was soon to arrive, though. But anyway, I digress. So look us up. I want to talk about the last caller of the first hour, talking about the banks, the banksters, and when he heard about our little skit we played about Frank Nitti, and back then was alcohol. Well, now it's money and banking at the highest levels. Not your local bank here, not your local credit union. They're the good guys. They have to. The local credit unions, the small banks, have to comply with the new regulations, which are extremely difficult to comply with. Has raised their costs substantially, and it wasn't their fault for this meltdown that took place. Okay. So, but they're as always, the innocents pay for the guilty people in society, whether individually or in a corporate sense. It's just the way life is, especially when you have legislatures pass these rules. And of course, you and I are under the umbrellas of meeting all these laws and requirements and paying our taxes, and if we don't, we get chastised rather quickly. They'll confiscate all your property and take over your checkbook, and if you owe back taxes, what have you. Whereas people at the highest levels, it's a lot of them don't pay taxes. They have ways of avoiding it. Not these laws exist for them to avoid it. I mean, they're not blatantly creating a felonious act. They have the best accountants, the best attorneys at Princeton and Harvard and other Ivy League colleges can graduate, and they hire them. And they lobby for legislation, pay for legislation to make sure that these rules are in their favor. And that's the way the game's played. Anyway, back to the story I want to talk about. In a story not reported at all in the Western mainstream media source, Iceland just sentenced another 5 high-level bankers to prison for directly contributing to the collapse of the country's economy in 2008. This spring brings the total of 26 bankers now behind bars in Iceland, with most being CEOs, chief executive officers, of large financial institutions rather than low-level traders. I think in this country we've put a few low-level traders behind bars. They weren't connected, or they didn't write big enough checks, okay? Most of those jailed will serve terms from 2 to 5 years, according to a report by Iceland Magazine, which notes that 3 executives from Landsbanken and 2 at Kipling, I don't speak Icelandic, by the way, along with 1 prominent investor have been prosecuted. Their crimes include market manipulation, embezzlement, and breach of fiduciary duties. Fiduciary is a trust, so to speak. It's a legal term. They betrayed their trust, their fiduciary. Their market manipulation destroyed the country's economy, and to this day, Iceland is still having to repay the global loan shocks at the IMF as well as governments of other countries, which kept their nation operating. The article explains that the prosecutions have been possible because rather than protect and reward every institution responsible for the collapse and the gangsters that run them, the Icelandic government let them fail, and then created a financial supervisory authority to strictly oversee the banks. Iceland's president, Olafur Ragnar Grimsson, noted, "Why are the banks considered to be the holy churches of the modern economy? Why are private banks not like airlines and telecommunication companies and allowed to go bankrupt if they have been run in a irresponsible way? The theory that you have to bail out banks is a theory that you allow bankers to enjoy for their own profit, their success, and then let ordinary people bear their failure through taxes and austerity. People in enlightened democracies are not going to accept that in the long run." The president added, "We were wise enough not to follow the traditional prevailing orthodoxies of the Western financial world in the last 30 years. We introduced currency controls. We let the banks fail. We provided support for the poor, and we didn't introduce austerity measures like you are seeing in Europe. While the country's economy is far from what it was, it has stabilized and is positioned to recover. Meanwhile, the governments of the United States and Europe bailed out most of those responsible for playing a direct role in the financial crisis that crippled the global economy. The U.S. Congress gave American banks $700 billion top bailout at the expense of the taxpayers. Not one banker in the U.S. has ever been charged with a crime relating to financial collapse. There is virtually no regulation of the banks, and they are pulling in near record $160 billion in annual profits, all from money created out of thin air. The banksters continue to be protected at all levels, and the effects of their criminal actions continue to worsen every day. Another financial catastrophe is a certainty." So there you have it. This is an article that you won't find in any of our Western news, main news sources here. That's why you have to kind of go offline until they shut that down. But this is the realities of what's taking place. So when you hear some of these high-level politicians, Republicans and Democrats, they're both in on it. Take the blue pill, take the red pill. Neither will do anything for you. And this is the realities. Okay, back to the program here. Very good afternoon to you, caller.
Hi, Ralph.
Hi, how are you?
I got a quick question for you. I have a 2014 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited.
Okay.
And I brought it into the dealership because in like the left front wheel, I'm getting like a little chirping.
Okay.
I can only hear it when I'm going fairly slow, like maybe to 10, 15 miles an hour. And then, of course, once I get the higher speed, it goes away.
Yep.
Well, I took it to the dealer. They couldn't find anything. So I took it by your place the other week. And, of course, when I got your guy in the Jeep to try to so you could hear the sound, I couldn't really hear it that well.
Yep.
But anyway, I picked up the car, and they said they thought it might have been a caliper. The bottom line is it's still doing it. But what's interesting, and I think you may have some insight into this, is when I'm driving very slow and you hear that chip, 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 as soon as I start to apply the brake, I mean, just start to put just the slightest bit of pressure, that thing goes away.
Yeah, that's true, because your brake shoe is probably... How many miles in this Jeep?
Oh, it's only like 30,000. I've had like 6 of these, and this is. I was amazed when I went, and they said, well, you know, they don't make them like they used to. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
But I thought at first it might be like a brake pad issue.
Right.
But when I brought it to your guys, they took the wheels off, and they said, Christ, your brake pads are like brand new.
They look good, yeah?
Yeah, they look brand new. So I'm trying to figure out if you had any insight as to what could. I'm going to Florida in that thing on Friday, so I'm a little bit concerned. Maybe I shouldn't be.
Well, maybe and they pulled the wheels off. My guys did.
Yeah, they pulled the.
So they looked at the meat on the pads. They said the pads were deep.
Oh, they came back and they said, because when we started, they explained to me about if I needed pads, what ones I should get.
Right.
Because of the weight of the vehicle. But when I got there, they said, "Oh, you don't need pads." They said, "We took the wheels off. Your pads are like brand new."
Did you do? You've done one brake job on the car?
No.
You've never done a brake job?
No.
And these are the front pads you're complaining about?
Front pads.
Yeah. Okay. Well, 30,000 miles, and this is an automatic or a stick?
It's automatic.
Okay. So you use your brakes a fair amount then.
Yeah. But somebody had told me a while back, well, if you're getting a little bit of chirping, that's usually a signal your brake pads are going.
Right.
So when I got there, they pulled them off, and he said, your brake pads are like brand new.
So you had plenty of meat on them.
Plenty of meat. He said, I wouldn't even think of it, which was kind of nice, by the way. Congratulations to your crew, because they could have very easily told me the brake pads were lousy and put new ones on, and they didn't do that.
Right.
That says a lot to me, because that's an honest place to deal with.
Yeah.
And I'm just, like, now I don't know, because I'm going to Florida. I don't think it's a big deal.
No. And the rotors were clean? There was no scoring or nothing like that?
No, because he told me when I went in, your guy, he said, if I have to replace the pads, I'm probably going to turn the rotors at the same time. And I said, yeah, that's fine. Go ahead and do it.
Yeah, I'd shave them to make them true again.
Yeah, he said that. But,
cut them
but then
hard.
when I got there, like he said, he says, there's no reason to change your brake pads. Your brake pads are fine.
Okay.
So I'm kind of perplexed as to what could be going on.
The brake, the brake pad.
Yeah.
It's like you could just about slip a piece of paper between the pad and the rotor when the brakes are not being used. They're that close, okay? It's just like maybe a paper close. Yep. And you might have a pad there with a high spot on it that's hitting the rotor at a certain point when it goes around.
And that's exactly what it sounds like to me, because when I'm going slow, I can hear it. And it's every revolution, right. Like beep, 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 beep. But once I get going, obviously it drowns itself out because you can't hear it. I guess my only concern at this point is, like I said, I'm taking that thing to Florida.
Yeah.
I don't think that's a major thing, right?
No, but I would say this: at 30,000 miles, it's a sign that you don't brake hard and aggressively. You probably, when you see a light change, you start to take your foot off the gas, let the vehicle slow down on its own without hitting the brakes. So you probably maximized your brake shoe life. You know what I mean?
Right, and most of the miles on it, by the way, are highway miles.
Okay, all right. Well, that's why your pads.
That's probably why the pads are good.
Right, but you might be coming to the point where those pads are just maybe tired, even though they have a lot of meat on them.
Yeah.
And sometimes if you pull them out and replace them and just shave the rotor and grease the slides that the pads slide on so they can pull back, if you will. They have a high temperature grease we use that can take it's 1,500 degrees, whatever it is. It's not cheap. I know that to buy a bottle.
But that's not something I'm going to get one of these idiots like to come on to say I have a brake problem, right?
No.
Okay. Right.
I'd have to talk to Ulysses, or a technician that looked at it, and just see his insight, get his feeling for it. And
well, basically, as I said, they took a look at it, and he said, "Gee, I couldn't find really anything." So
yeah, not enough to tell you, "Hey, listen, replace it." Yeah.
Yeah, or anything. Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you got 30,000 on it, though. I mean, like I said,
I just turned 30. This is like my sixth Jeep. We bought a new Jeep every 3. We bought like 4 of them for you when you were there.
Yeah.
And I've never had brake issues ever. I've had some with 50,000 and 60,000 miles on them. I've never had a brake issue.
Well, they're changing the composition of these pads so much, and I did a job on a customer with a Subaru that they bought from us, and we put higher grade of pads in there. And you do pay more money, but they are better quality. It's so obvious than the cheap stuff, you know.
But like you said, I think that what you just told me makes sense, though, about the
you got a little
the tolerance between the brake pad and the rotor. But there's even a little bump somewhere, it could be pulling up that squeak, I guess.
And I guess also the backing plate on that, there's a shield that that covers 3/4 of the rotor, so to speak. With a caliber mount. Sometimes the backing plate will just touch at one spot in the rotor and get a little squeak. That's usually more common in the rear brakes than the fronts. But without talking to the tech, and I'm sure he looked at that. That's another thing I'd look for.
But like I say, what got me was when I hear this sound and it's pretty prominent. I don't even really depress the brake. I just start to put the brake pedal on, and it goes away.
Yeah, well, then that's more than likely, like you said, the shoe, you're just squeezing it enough to
get rid of that
right.
whatever it is.
Yeah, because you got a little high spot there on the rotor of the pad.
Yeah.
And it hits it there, and it chirps.
All right, so nothing serious, though?
No, not the way, no.
Okay.
I would say, though, with 30,000 miles in a set of pads and rotors, they're probably getting, tired. Even though they might be in good shape, they get tired over that time. I mean, there's a lot of heat being generated there.
Right, exactly.
I mean, you could bring it by if I'm around. I'll go for a ride with you just to double
well, you know how that works. Every time you have a squeak or a noise and you go to get somebody to get in the car, you won't do it.
Yeah. No, I know that all too well, yeah.
I'm telling you. But, and even when your guy got in, I was having a hard time, letting him hear what I'm hearing. Obviously, I know it's there, so I hear it all the time,
Yeah.
All right, well, maybe I'll run it by, early next week again.
Stop by in the afternoon or something, and I'll just go around the block with you and just see what we got going on.
Yeah.
And,
okay. Sounds good.
Yeah, just for your own peace of mind if you're driving to Florida.
Yeah.
How far down you going in Florida?
Well, we go to Fort Myers.
Okay. Yeah, so Fort Myers, that's a good ride down then.
Oh, yeah, no, it's a good ride. Yeah. And like I say, if I'm going 60, 70 miles an hour, I'm not going to even hear it, so it's not going to bother me.
Yeah.
I just wanted, out of, pfunctionality, is this going to be a problem halfway down there? But I guess not.
Yeah.
Well, let me buzz by if I get.
Yeah, if you get by, just go for I'll be more than happy to go around the block with you. All right.
Sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, you can ring us up here at 9960500. Wait a minute, 9960500. That's correct. 508-9960500. Or for you old-timers, Wyman 60500. Okay? And we're going to be right back here. Play a tune here, and I'm going to get a drink of water.
Covered every little highway, and I've been climbing every hill. I've been looking high and I've been looking low, looking for my Shanghai Lil. The stars that hang high over Shanghai bring back the memory of a thrill. I've been looking high and I've been looking low, looking for my Shanghai Lil. I learned to love her, the little devil was just a butterfly. But you discover something on the level shining in her eye. Oh, I've been trying to forget her, but what's the use, I never will. I'll be looking high and I'll be looking low till I find my Shanghai Lil.
Gene Cardoz and his orchestra, Shanghai Lil, 1933. I saw plenty of Shanghai Lils when I was in Shanghai. And they say drunk and out of town don't count. But I wasn't drunk, so it did count. But I didn't, so so I didn't do nothing. I was a good boy. Oh, okay. There's a young lady at the, speaking about a Shanghai Lil. This young gal wants to get in here. Somebody lit the window here. Saw some real Shanghai Lils out there in Shanghai, China. That's for sure. The country has been growing. It's slowing down now, but it still has a massive juggernaut over there of an economy. It's just when you go there and researching and studying and listening to the Asia Pacific Basin for many years now via shortwave radio, and when you get there and you see what's taken place in 40 years in China, it's absolutely amazing. Of course, they've been building up, and we seem to be building down. Okay, and we can blame our politicians, but we have to blame ourselves. You and me and our individual acts is cumulatively what makes the country. And we just have to get more right thinking, in a sense, to create the energy levels necessary to, keep our country on the right track. So many people are misinformed as to the realities, the truths that exist out there. Some of the natural laws are in denial. Matter of fact, there's an article I was going to talk about that, but before I get into that, I just want to talk about some other things about automobiles. We got some great cars in. Let me see. You helped that young lady get into the building, Matt? Yeah?
Yep.
Yeah, all right, yeah.
I answered a question.
Oh, she doesn't work here, does she?
No.
Oh, I haven't seen her. Okay, she doesn't want to join us.
She was just wondering who that handsome guy behind the microphone was.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's Ralph.
Oh, okay.
Not me.
Interesting. We have a few new cars that have arrived in this week. If you're in the market for a good quality automobile, we're getting these cars ready. But we brought in a real nice 03 Toyota Camry with a small V6, a nice road machine. The V6s, they just make a car feel more powerful in it. Well, obviously more powerful. It's just a torque. Those two extra guys pumping on the crankshaft make a huge difference versus a four-cylinder. And I guess the same could be said if you're driving a little three-cylinder smart car. When you drive a four-cylinder, you're impressed with the power. But nonetheless, this car has a small V6. It's very good on fuel, and definitely has the moxie to go on a long ride without you hearing a lot of vibration and noise, especially today when everybody's driving at north of 75 miles an hour on the highway. But this 03 Toyota Camry, it's white. It only has 79,000 miles on it, and it will be a good buy priced well under $10,000, and it's pretty much loaded up being an LE, a real good value. We bought an inexpensive car in. It's going to be an 01 Satin, something like that. Probably it's only got 91,000 miles on it. We'll be getting that ready for someone out there, and that's a car that would more than likely sell for under $4,000 once we check it out and determine what it needs to make it 100%. So we try to offer good value. We do get some cars in under $4,000. It's a difficult end of the market to be in. We have many people come see us for even cars at $2,000 or $500 or $1,200, $1,500. Extremely difficult end of the market. We just can't sell a car that would at that price point and put in it what's necessary to make the car reliable without us losing money, is what it boils down to. And very often you buy a car at that price point, under $2,000, you're buying problems. So for us to put our name on it, the car has to meet a certain standard. We just don't sell it. Plain and simple. It's really not rocket science. It's just what we hold to, our standards. And we just, and we meet a lot of people who are just in a tight spot. But we have other values too. But these three arrived, and they'll be made ready very shortly. Oh, I think I missed one. Did I miss one? I did miss one. I have another Toyota. Wait, how many Toyotas have I got here? Oh, I have another Toyota. It's an 03 Toyota Camry. Corolla. 4-door silver. This is a nice machine too. And this car only has 86,000 miles on it, and we're going to be getting that car ready. It's silver, and it's a little '03 Toyota, and a car like that's going to be selling for probably for sure under 7,000 in that ballpark when it's all serviced out and made ready, detailed and cleaned. And they represent good value cars. You can put, oh my God, if you take care of it, well over 100,000 on it and drive all your money out, and then it starts contributing to your bank account. And I think there's a lot of folks in this area who are frugal and conservative, and they understand that they have to live within a budget, live within their means, and at these times to get ahead and to live within your standards. So we have some other machines as well. Got a nice Dodge 04 Dodge Ram quad cab, 4-wheel drive. That truck sells for under 12,000. An 012 Ford Fusion Silver. That's 2012. That car sells for under 95. An 01 Wrangler, 47,000 miles for under 12.5. An 05 Chevy Impala, we're getting ready for selling under 6,000 with 71,000 miles. Let's see, we've got Continental we're getting ready now. We're going to have a nice clean Continental when it's all done up. An 01. Let's see, we got another machine, 06 Liberty Sport Utility for under 7. A Nissan Maxima, which is in the process of being made ready, 89,000 miles. No price on that one yet. A 2010 Town and Country, priced at under 9,000. That's a good buy. Mileage is in the 80s. It's clean with stow and go seating. Good value for a family out there, or if you travel, you and the missus, or your companion. If you travel throughout New England, or go to antique shows, what have you. 01 Cherokee Sport, 82,000 miles, a nice machine, priced at under 7. That's a collector's vehicle now. 2011 Golf, black, 4-door, diesel. I'm driving it. I love the car, under 12. Nice machine. I'll tell you, the Germans build a nice machine. I mean, the diesels are catching a little flack right now. Flack. Sounds like bombing Germany or London. But they make an incredible machine. The car runs flawless. The engineering on it, you can tell they do the math on the vehicles. Got a great 05 Honda Element all-wheel drive, light green, and that's priced at under 8. Good buy. And that's if you have to move a lot of gear, equipment, if you're in a band, or you do flea markets, antique shows, or you have kids, family, just a lot of activity. Honda Element's for you, and it's all-wheel drive, so it'll get you around, year-round. 04 Kia Spectra, that just came in. There's no price on that yet. 2010 Altima, black, loaded, priced at under 10.5. 07 Chrysler PT Cruiser, 78,000 miles. 07, priced at less than 5,500. 04 F-150 Super Cab, flare side, silver. That truck just came in, hasn't been priced out yet. 07, let's see what else we got here. Oh, another 08 F-150 Super Cab, black, 4x4. It's the shop box, not the long body shop box, which a lot of guys prefer that. Of course, with the Super Crew, most people prefer that, unless it's maybe White's Construction Company or Keating or something like that, when they have the 8-foot beds with the quad cabs, and they have all the construction workers in there. That's a different kind of rig, though. This is priced at under 17. 08 Subaru Forester Red, priced at under 9. It's a 5-speed, kind of a rare one if you like shifting. That's the car for you. Good on gas, all-wheel drive. And we got Ram trucks, Jeep Grand Cherokee, an 03 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo 6-cylinder automatic with both part-time and full-time 4-wheel drive systems. It's kind of built in the old tradition. Only 66,000 miles, priced at less than 8,500. That's a solid rig for somebody who wants to get around in the winter. The odds of getting stuck in that, forget it. They're very reliable, and they're just designed to get through the winter months. That's built in the traditional Jeep tradition with more of a military, more than one military thread running through it. The newer stuff they're more girly-ized, but this is the real machine, the real McCoy. 2010 Suzuki Kasishi, I think they call it, GTS. 79,000 miles, priced at under 9. Nice road car. 2010 Ford Fusion, V6, 71,000 miles, under 13.5. An absolutely remarkable condition Chrysler 300M, gray, 73,000 miles, 2003, priced at under 6. Car's flawless, a nice car. 06 Chrysler 300C with the Hemi, and that Hemi is the one that goes down to the cylinders knock off on the highway for better gas mileage. The car is mint. The car is flawless. I mean, it only has 15,000 miles on it, and I talked to the owner. We're running a sale on it right now at under 15, $14.99. A super buy. That is a flawless car for the money. It's in the showroom, actually. It's I sold a car new, and this gentleman doesn't drive it in the winter. He's in Florida. He leaves it in the garage. And it took all I could do to get him to leave the car in the showroom to show. He didn't want people touching it. I said, if you want to sell the car, don't worry about it. But the car is mint, flawless, and he maintained it well. And I see him every summer, spring, summer, fall, when he's up here before the winter begins. But that is a nice, well, I hate to say it, but it's a man's car. Okay, the Chrysler 300, it's kind of a man's car. It's just that kind of car. When you drive it, it's set up in a traditional American sense, but a well-crafted machine. And it's a well-received car. 07 Honda Accord XL, EXL V6 sedan, 39,000 miles, priced at under 13.5. Car's flawless. 01 GMC Sierra 1500, long bed, two-wheel drive, nice. Just a good solid truck for somebody who wants a nice quality truck, 6-cylinder, beat bop around town. If you have properties to maintain or a big house or a small business on the side, just a nice truck without spending all kinds of money. And you can buy the truck for under $7,500. Got 90,000 miles on it. It's a 2001. Very clean, good frame, good body, a good value. It really is. If you want to buy a nice truck without spending a ton of dough. 2002 5 Series 530i black BMW, 85,000 miles, priced at under 9. Good machine. The Cirrus is sold. Happy buyer with that. It was a good car for the dough. And we have a Ford Escape, which is kind of competes against the Honda CR-V and the Toyota RAV. This Honda Escape only has 62,000 miles. It's an XLT, all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, priced at under 9. Great for the winter. Jeep Commander, silver, 78,000 miles, 06, priced at under 13.5. And a nice, clean, like brand new Jetta, diesel, TDI, 66,000 miles, priced at under 17. And I have a couple other Corollas and Camrys as well. So we have a good selection of used cars. You should put us on a shopping list. You can always look at these cars at ralphscars.com, and you can. We have some information there too about our other services, undercoating and things like that. Look us up. We do need your support to continue on, and we are truly grateful for that. And we work hard to earn your goodwill. And you can ring me up here, 9960500, 9960500. And, you know, God almighty, it's hard to believe that Thanksgiving is around the corner and Christmas, and we settle into winter, my favorite time of year. Yeah, right. But we have, I have to order some more radios, and you should consider either, if one of your relatives or friends aren't going to buy you a radio, then you should buy one for yourself. Or, if you already have one, or you'd like to get a gift for somebody, this is an excellent opportunity. I'm going to be ordering a big batch here before the holiday rush and get them in like ASAP, because I know how it gets trying to get shipments sent, and delays through UPS. But these radios start at $60 and up. They make a little pocket one, like a pocket transistor radio, but this is not your father's pocket transistor radio. This is a much more modern and advanced little radio with push button on it and a clock, even alarm, and it has a weather channel and AM, FM. And for $60, it's an outstanding value and comes with headphones. Runs on 2 AA batteries. Super value. I got to order more of those. They've been selling. A lot of people have been happy with that. Nice little personal radio to have when you're working in the yard or in the shop or wherever you're going. If you want to stay listening to WBSM or whatever programs interest you. They make a tabletop radio for $75. They sell, all these radios sell for more at their website. I buy enough of them where I can give a discount to people, and when you figure what they sell it for plus the shipping, the prices I sell for are way behind what they get for them. But the $75 for the tabletop analog radio, simple to use, doesn't require a college degree, and it's a reliable little radio. And then they have a little shortwave one that has shortwave AM and FM. Goes for a little bit more money, like $35 more, just over $100. Nice radio for the money. And then they make their flagship radio, which they sell for, by the time you get it shipped to you, it's like $185. I can get you one for just under $150. And it's their top of the line radio. It's a nice tabletop. It's an instrument. Okay, it's a nice radio for the money. It's hard to find good equipment today, and good equipment costs money. I have some people, you tell them, well, the top-of-the-line radio is $150, and they go, I use the Zoosh. I say, hey, guy, come on, well, lady. Good equipment costs money. I mean, you ought to come on a Snap-on truck with me sometime, and you'll be saying, I use the Zoosh as soon as you step on board when they start talking prices. I mean, the price of tools today are off the charts for good quality tools, just the way it is. Just the way it is. And the same goes for radios. Radios were never cheap. Back when your grandfather bought his Philco Tombstone radio in 1935, that was a ton of dough for a working man back then. Radios were very expensive. Radios back then were kind of like the advanced computers today, because there was a new technology in the 30s and 20s, and well, especially the 30s when they had speakers on them. You didn't have to use headphones all the time, because the earlier radios had headphones. They didn't have speakers to amplify. So there was radical changes in the 30s, like this radical change is going on now. But there you have it. That's my story. I'm sticking with it. You can call me here in a few minutes we got left at 9960500. There was an article here. I was reading some quotes here, and about Thomas Jefferson. He made a comment way back when. The Republican is the only form of government which is not eternally at open or secret war with the rights of mankind. Heavy, huh? Heavy. Most people don't read the writings from our forefathers. Considered too old. Too old. They rather listen to 50 Cent. 50 Cent still living, Matt?
I think so.
No, he wasn't shot. I don't know. I don't keep up with that. Right. There's an article here. What middle class? Most Americans make less than $30,000 a year. So many people barely scraping by. Well, the middle class is mostly a memory now, in spite of what Hillary says and all the other pundits out there, political or media. But anyway, getting into the article here, it says we just got more evidence that the middle class in America is dying. According to a brand new numbers that were just released by the Social Security Administration, 51% of all workers in these United States make less than $30,000. Let me say that again. 51% of all workers in the United States make less than $30,000 a year. So over half the people. Let that number sink in for a moment. You can't support a middle-class family in America today on just $2,500 a month, especially after taxes are taken out. And yet more than half of all workers in this country make less than that each month. In order to have a thriving middle class, you have got to have an economy that produces lots of middle-class jobs. And that simply is not happening in America today. You can find a report at the the report that the Social Security Administration just released at their website. The following are some numbers that really stood out. 38% of all American workers made less than $20,000 a year. And around here, that's more than obvious, right? I mean, if you analyze what's happening around here, it's more than obvious. 51% of all American workers made less than $30,000 a year. 62% of all American workers made less than $40,000 a year. 71% of all American workers made less than $50,000 last year. The first number is truly staggering. The poverty level for a family of 5 is 28,410 in the United States, and yet almost 40% of all American workers do not even bring in $20,000 a year. Okay, if you work full-time at a job at $10 an hour all year long, with 2 weeks off, you would make approximately $20,000. This should tell you something about the quality of jobs that our economy is producing at this point. And, I mean, unless you're, a master's degree, doctor's degree in a specific science, I mean, where are people going to go? Johnny, who just maybe got a high school diploma, good kid, shows up to work, but Alden Corrugated doesn't have any loading jobs now in the dock, because Alden Corrugated now is in Beijing. Okay, these are the realities. Hey, folks, thanks for listening. Catch you next week. God bless. Stay safe. Look us up at Ralph's Auto Center in the north end of New Bedford on Church Street, where we'll truly do our best to make you happy and be competitive in pricing. But we do need your support. So look us up. Thank you for listening. I'm Ralph Medeiros. Catch you next week. God bless. Oh, don't forget, P-Off show tomorrow. Probably could show up there and buy a ticket to go see that. I'm going to be there, so that ought to be fun. And it starts tomorrow afternoon. It's okay. Les spectacle. Catch you then. Leon, hope to see you there, buddy. See you.